Was your best game. What kind of rhythm are you in with this offense?
Let's make it 3 next week. Yeah, I'm in a rhythm.
All right, and again, for those of you who are only Monday regulars with us, Dominique is a member of the Prescott family. He's a cousin. He's involved in some of the group family texts. What do we say about Cousin Dak today?
I mean, he's been incredible from week to week. His ability to buy time with his legs, those are the big plays in offense last week. Those are the big plays in offense this week, and move the defense around by doing that, helping out that offensive line. Dak's been incredible.
After the really questionable performance against San Francisco, the huge bounce back. But, Dan, it's not his legs, but his eyes that you were telling me about.
Yeah, I actually don't think it's that impressive of a win for the Cowboys. I'm just saying, I just want to make Cowboys fans mad.
Twitter,
No. So I totally agree that this is the best rhythm we've seen in, I would say, a couple years for Dak Prescott when it comes to games in a row. 2 things, the ball to CD, and then the eyes were so good yesterday. So he's going to read this backside safety. If he goes out, he's going to work to the top, the 3 receiver side. If he hangs in the middle, drifts towards the middle of the field, or goes that way, it's CeeDee Lamb one-on-one. We call this a post, corner post, the bottom of the screen. Look at Dak. He's staring there on purpose. He's trying to get that safety to drift that way and then quickly come back and rip that ball to CeeDee Lamb. Soloed by himself. Now up top, you're going to get pressure off basically the bottom of the screen. Dak Prescott knows pressure off my left, I got a dropper from my right. I have CD running an in route at the top of the screen, but that dropper's everything. He's going to move that dropper, like take that dropper with his eyes, moving to the left to vacate that wrap in area for CeeDee Lamb. Multiple examples yesterday where Dak's eyes were the difference in the play being like a good play or a great play. And it's funny, I remember last year saying the best play in football was the Cowboys pass rush on 3rd down.
Yeah.
The best play for the Cowboys this season, not even close, is throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. And I have to give them credit. The past couple of weeks, they've moved him around. I feel like they finally created some matchups, which is something that they haven't done. And again, Dak was awesome yesterday.
Take that to the advanced class, Rex. Yeah. You were telling us about where they're using CeeDee Lamb.
Well, finally, they threw Gallup out. Like they kept throwing the ball to Gallup because he's the X receiver. And what that is, the weak side outside receiver, split in, if you will, on the weak side. You have to be able to beat man coverage. Look, who's that up there? Is that Gallup? Well, it's not. It's going to be complete. It's CeeDee Lamb, all right? And so now we get that over there, and he can beat that press coverage, and he did. And now this one right here, they got the Y off, but he's clearly on the weak side of the formation. And now we're going to get him isolated on the inside.
He's isolated on the safety there because of that.
Isolated on the safety. Why? Because they moved the tight end out wide. And so they're finding ways to give him the ball. Later in the show, Dan's going to show in the red zone in particular. And because why? CeeDee Lamb only had 1 touchdown going into this game. Why does he have it here? They moved him to that split-in position, weak side of the formation. When he's isolated, you're getting man coverage, more room over there, and he beats it. And that's what they needed to do. All season, I've been going crazy saying, why do we think Michael Gallup can play? He can't play. I'm sitting back looking at him. He's playing the X receiver where you got to be a stud. Week before, let me give you an example.
Yeah.
When Dak throws an incompletion, you know where it's going? Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
Okay? They had 10 targets the week before. He had 3 catches for 20 yards. This one, he had a great game, 2 catches for 20. All right, they realized something. Brandon Cooks, you showed the double move for a touchdown. That's 2 weeks in a row. Mm-hmm. Dallas had finally figured it out. Why I was so impressed with them when they picked up this kid in the offseason, because I'm like, they finally got a true number 2 receiver.
Yep.
All right, ever since they let Cooper go, they got a number 2 in this guy, and they finally are using it. So to their credit, it took them 7 weeks or whatever, but they figured it out.
So they make some adjustments, and the offense obviously explodes. But it's the defense that they're going to ride if they're going to ride this thing deep and they're going to ride Micah Parsons.
This is the game script that they want. Get up early and let them eat. What I saw from Micah was really special. They put him in the middle of the lineup, and he either gets one-on-one with the center, which tends to be the worst pass blocker in the line, or they have to assign both of the guards to help him out, which gives the ends one-on-ones out there. It's a tough thing. Watch how this opens up. Wide open, then Micah's able to do whatever he wants, or they push it to one side and it makes for a two-way go for another player. It's incredible. It's unfair. We've seen the Browns do it with Myles Garrett. Look at that. He's too strong, too fast and too big. Normally, on the edge, there's a tackle who's at least big. The center is Micah's size and nowhere near as quick or as strong. That man can't win right there. There isn't a center in the league that can block Micah Parsons one-on-one.
So I love that tape. Two things that stood out to me, Dom, were passing situations, like those obvious passing situations. And what they did was they would put him Micah at so for us offensive people, they would put him over the center's head. That forces my 5 offensive linemen. Everyone's got to block one-on-one, right? And then what they would do is take one of the other 4 defensive linemen, drop them out. So you guys still defensively get your one-on-ones, but you still have 7 people in coverage. So you're not exposed on the back end.
It ends up being a blitz without blitzing.
Exactly.
And for those of us who are longtime football fans, Rex, tell us why that reminded you of Reggie White.
Yeah, because my dad, who was a brilliant thinker or whatever, he put his best player over the center. How would you like to have Reggie White over the center? Because that's how he made a living. He would crush people through the inside, and then Dan Hampton with the Bears. So this goes back all the way to the 80s when this is not new. It's new to put a linebacker over there. However, it's the same thing. The same premise. Put your best, isolate your best player on a one-on-one situation. Dan Quinn's done a great job of that this season, I think, again, especially in obvious passing situations.
Yeah.
Find the fish, put your best player on them, one-on-one.
I think Dom's point of that's the style that Dallas wants to play is it feels like very accurate coming off of yesterday. And I think that if you were going to ask, if Dallas gets to play to their style, can they beat anybody in the NFC? Probably.
Or does the number one, and you touched on it there briefly, the number one takeaway from this game?
Yeah, A.J. Brown and Tyreek Hill are competing right now for best wide receiver in football. And I do have to give credit to RG3. RG3 said this. You know, A.J. Brown should be in the MVP conversation. That's absolutely true. The physicality that he plays with, and it's unique when you say it's A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill for best receiver in football right now, because Tyreek Hill does it obviously with speed. A.J. does it with physicality. A.J. reminds me a little bit like a DeAndre Hopkins throwback, where, and this is done in respect and reverence, like he's open when he's not open. You know what I'm saying? Like defenders are there, and while there's not a ton of separation, he's still open because of the way he tracks the football, controls his body, and makes those contested catches. The physicality that he presents is a problem on defense.
He is. I mean, he's so strong at the catch point. I mean, that's the thing about him. And I always love everybody says, oh, it's 50-50 ball. No, it isn't.
Like
not with that guy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that drives me crazy when I'm watching this. And, Neek, you know darn well, shouldn't we stuff this guy every snap?
Please, explain what that means.
And what that means is, like, anytime we're playing zone, we are going to take our attention to this guy. Sounds easy, right? Well, if he's outside, if you're playing cover 2, that would be good, all right? If he's inside, and meaning that we're going to get our hands on him with our corner. If he's inside, you have to play cover 4. Unfortunately, no team in the league does what we would do.
We call it a stuff technique. So if he was outside, we would check it to 2. If he goes inside, we're check it to 4, and we'll tell the hook player, go out there and touch him. Touch him up as much as you can. Make sure that the quarterback has to come off of it. It takes a great deal of pressure off of Jalen Hurts, though.
And that's what you have to do. And and then the technique I'm watching. Both guys end up over top of him. That ain't good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that back shoulder fade. The reason you want to be in that type of coverage is so I have the back shoulder covered and the top. How do we end up with both guys over here? Why? Because we play for Washington.
You're saying behind.
That's why.
We're going to talk about the Commanders a little later in this hour when Shefty joins us, because there is some thought that maybe they make some trades in advance of the deadline tomorrow. Some players might be headed out.
Those catches are sick.
It's ridiculous.
They're sick.
Just for fun, before I get to the next thing, because you're one of the great defensive coaches of all time, who would you rather try and stop, A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill?
A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
You'd rather try and stop?
No, I mean, I don't want to stop either one of them, but A.J. Brown for sure. And I'm going to tell you, and you're right. Your comparison to Hopkins at the catch point, you're right. The guy's a freak. The only bad thing is he runs a 4.3 also. So it's like Hop never ran more than a 4.6. So, like, he's faster. But no way. This one dude is, I've never seen it.
Tyreek Hill.
He is so fast. The other thing is, too, he's quick as you know what? He's a rocked up dude now. Like, he's a physical little guy.
Yeah.
He just said on the other side. But I think, to me, I'm I may lose a little sleep at night trying to defend him.
All right, then let's get to the other side of this, though, because the Eagles, the offense, look, they put up 38 points yesterday. I think generally speaking, we have confidence in them. But they got to the Super Bowl last year because they had an elite defense. Do they have that now?
Yeah, it's not elite consistently, which is the problem. But one good thing about this defense is Hassan Reddick, we don't talk about him, is one of the great closers in football. We talk about that D-line like it's an ensemble cast because it is. But at the end of games, you need a defensive lineman to put games away. And Hassan Reddick is doing it as well and as often as anyone in the league. Over the last 2 seasons, in the fourth quarter, he has 11.5 fourth-quarter sacks. This man is a problem, and we should talk about him the same way we talk about some of these other great pass rushers.
The defense is not playing nearly as good as it did last year. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, go back to last week. Remember, came on this after the Miami Dolphins game and said, outside of 2 plays, that's a 1-score game.
Yeah.
Sam Howell threw it. Now, it's a bad matchup for the Philadelphia. Sam Howell threw it up and down the football field yesterday. So if we're sitting here going coverage-wise, who's the one person that's playing well on the back end right now? It's Darius Slay. Yeah. Other than that, no one's playing up to their capability. Bradbury's not. Reed Blankenship's just back from injury. Sidney Brown, I did like some stuff in the nickel yesterday, but there are some voids in their coverage. They got some bad matchup situations yesterday. I think if I was Philadelphia, I got to figure out some things on defense in the middle of my defense before Tuesday when it comes to the trade deadline.
Just quickly, this is why I never had the Eagles going back and representing the NFC and why I took Dallas over them. Because they lose 5 starters on that defense and your coordinator. Well, right now, you haven't replaced those 5 starters, clearly. The Gardner Johnson guy is a big miss for these guys. And then the other deal was the coordinator. Because right now, this guy ain't ain't up to par. And all I'm seeing is he's playing such vanilla defense. How about we put some sprinkles on that defense? Like, for the love of God, they just keep waiting. Reddick is, to me, that's Mariano Rivera. They might as well put that inner Sandman out there.
I think the coordinator's been better than Rex is saying. I just don't think they're not covering.
Boy, I don't. I mean, when you went from a team that was historic in rushing the passer to this, you got what, 1 or 2 sacks against Washington?
I also played Little League baseball with the defensive
45.
coordinators.
All right, one or
okay, I get it.